I think back at that performance on Saturday, and I just look at the many missed opportunities that we have. And, you're down 17-3, and then we were able to battle back and get it to 17-13 at the half. Then right there at the start of we give up a play there on defense. Now they're up 31-13, and then just to watch the resiliency of this football team and how we just kept coming back, and just wish we could have made that third down stop. Knew didn't know exactly what he was gonna do. Was we thinking about coming out with an all-out blitz and hoping the ball would get out of the quarterback's hand quickly, and just didn't want to give up a big play and just get the ball back for our offense. And what was really exciting is just to watch our offense, because we sat there and you watch that game, you're like, wow, you wanted our defense to get on the field, but also just because of the way our offense was moving the ball, you want to give them an opportunity to get out there and just with Tyrone playing as well as he was playing, and then the running backs and offensive line just continues to get better and better. But we know this in the special teams, we have to get much better. You can't give up a kickoff return after going up 3-0 and then giving up a big return on that kickoff return. That just can't happen, because I told our players it would be the momentum will swing. It will swing Oklahoma's way, it would swing our way, it would swing back and forth. And then at the end of the day, it would settle down, and then the guys that could make the play were going to make the plays. Just to watch Tyrone, the way he played and how well he handled himself in the first, the big rivalry was amazing, just to watch up the yardage he put up and just how he just directed the offense. And then you can see it. If he plays well, our offense is going to play well. And then on defense, just for us to go out and just completely shut them out the first half there. Didn't even play that many plays, and I told our guys at halftime, you have no reason to be tired. I think we may have played 14 snaps, but that was attributed to the way our offense held the football and drove the ball, and just the way we drove it. But just very pleased at how hard we played. Could have very easily, kind of set back when it's 31-13. You could have said, hey, we have no chance, but 18 points down, and just watch us come back.
Start with Brian in the front.
Charlie, about the special teams, the last 2 weeks, I think the biggest thing is there've been two just huge momentum crushers with the blocked field goal and then the kick return. What are you telling your guys? What is Chris Vaughn? I mean, he's listed as the special teams coach. I mean, can you just talk about how the duties are broken up and everything else with that?
Well, you look at the one with the blocked field goal. The ball never took off. I mean, they didn't even have to jump to block the field goal. Guy put his hand up the ball. It just never took flight. So it's all about the kicker getting the ball up. And then on the kickoff return, I mean, we have two guys that are standing right there, and they both are on the ground. Just get up off the ground. Then we made the hit on it. But it was just a matter of guys just getting down the field and getting off blocks and separate, keeping the ball inside and in front, crossing face. I mean, we saw the return. It was the indicators were there. Said if the indicator, when the guy comes back, it's a middle return. Brought the ball right down where we said it was going to come, and we just didn't do it.
On your right, Chip.
Charlie, what level of concern do you have about the special teams? Because there was the punt return against UCLA, the kick return against OU, and missed field goals, blocked field goals.
What needs to happen, and what guys have to understand, and the players have to understand, that you don't take a play off with special teams. And it's, we have offense, you have defense, you have special teams, and that's not a time to take the play off. You look at that UCLA game, and we punt the ball away, and the ball should have been punted to the outside. It's punted down the middle, which allowed them to get to the boundary. But we still got to run. No matter where the ball is punted, we still got to go make the play on the ball. And with that kickoff return there on Saturday, and like I said, there's two guys just didn't even get blocked, and we didn't make the play. So it's just a matter of us getting it done.
You change out guys?
Yeah, we will change out guys. Yes.
On your left, Alex.
Coach, is this finally the week that we get an answer on Desmond Harrison?
You won't get that answer this week, Alex.
In the middle, Bob.
Coach, you mentioned hitting faster, getting a step faster, getting a little bit harder against OU. How do you get these guys to do that this week and not come out flat against Iowa State?
What I did, Bob, I said it's a one-game season now, so it's all about us playing, and we have to just look at it like this. It's Iowa State, and for us to have the performance against Oklahoma, there's no reason for us to have a letdown now against Iowa State. So we need to go. We need to come out. We need to play well, and we need to continue to play well. Tyrone needs to have a good day, and like I said, when he leads the offense and when he plays well, our offense plays well.
Is that a concern? I mean, does that concern you that the letdown is a possibility?
I don't think it's a letdown just because of where we're sitting at right now. You know, we're 2-4, so I don't know why we would ever think that we, have reason to be where we feel like, hey, we're going to go out here and just kind of play our game and not really give really good effort. That shouldn't happen. But you have to always guard against that because usually after a disappointing loss, when you play so well in a rival game, you tend to have a letdown, which as a coaching staff is what we had to coach this week and guard against.
On your right, Ryan.
Charlie, is Chris Vaughn overseeing all of the special teams, or is a different coach on each unit?
No, we have it broken down. I'm responsible for the punt team, so that punt return was on me, huh? But no, I have the punt team. What we do is really it's myself is involved as well as Vance and BJ, but all our coaches are involved with it. So we just break down like he has the title, but each coach has a phase of it. So that's the way we coach it. Like on the kickoff, one guy has the right side, one guy has the left side, one guy has the safeties, and that's the way we coach it. But whereas he has a title, because it's so hard to say, hey, he's solely in charge of it when also he has to deal with the secondary.
Dennis.
Coach, you were talking about no letdown this week. In the biggest picture of it, of this season, what keeps you guys motivated? Is it a bowl eligibility thing, or is it a different inspiration for these guys?
Well, I think now, Dennis, what has to keep us, it's still 6 games left to go play, so we need to end up this season the right way. So it's all about now just continue to play it out, and there's no need to give in because you still have 6 games left. You have a group of seniors that want to still leave out here the right way. So we still owe it to our seniors to make sure that this season happens the right way and get it done the right way for them.
On your left, Mike.
Charlie, we've covered some Texas losses to Oklahoma before, and it seemed like after the game on Saturday that was as positive of a group as we've seen in a while. Is that kind of how you wanted them to react to that, to focus on the upside and that things are getting better, or do you want them more angry?
Well, I'm always angry myself after a game, after a loss, and I think our players should take it the same way. And I think that what happened, which I haven't been here in the past, and it's just sometimes when you're down at the start of the fourth quarter, 31-13, things start really going south for you, then you're not able to regroup. But to watch this team come back and battle back, I think it was a positive. And just hoping that if you could have got the ball back, who knows what would have happened. But it's always something to build on, and that's what you want to do. You always want to build on it. And so you look at this loss and you say, look, guys, we give away 14 points there early. A interception for a touchdown, and then the kickoff return is 14 points. We just give to them where they didn't even have to earn it. I mean, just catch the ball and just run it back. And then then you get it back, and then you get the ball down on the goal line, and it was so much noise in that one into the end zone. So, and then you have a new snapper, so Taylor snaps the ball, and he's been the new snapper and just wasn't ready. So now we end up having to get a field goal where I think if we had got the ball snapped, probably would have scored a touchdown there. And then you could have went in halftime 17 up instead of 17-13. But we had our chances.
Back right, Mike.
Charlie, do you look back at that 2011 season and when you were 2-4 going into the Rutgers game and how you coached that week and try to do the same thing again to turn things around?
Well, you always had to look back at it, Mike, because we were 2-4, and you're sitting there and you kind of it was actually we were going into West Virginia. We were going to West Virginia at 2-4. Not knowing if we even had a chance is when they had Geno and those the receivers they had in. So we ended up going up there and beating them, and then that gave us some juice there and gave us now they had just some life to them where they say, hey, look, we just go play this thing the right way, then we have a chance. 1-5 out of the next 6.
On your left, Setter.
Charlie, how frustrating is it for the coaching staff to not get that complete performance in all 3 phases? And also, how was the mood of the team when you met with them on Sunday?
You know what happens? The mood is always not very good when you lose a football game because it's, I have a lot to say, and I always show them the mistakes that we made and give them some plays. But what I did yesterday I showed them some plays of where we had good effort. like when Steve, the first third down, when Steve Edmond made a big hit, I said, celebrate with the team. I think that's when he ran to the sideline and hit Blewett or something, and almost knocked him out. I said, just stand there and celebrate with the team. And then when Jay Hall hit the back in the hole and picked him up and dunked him on his head, everybody, even we get a penalty there, I want to see everybody run up to him right there. That's a great way. And then to watch the play that when Tyrone, even when we got the holding call, but he made that long run there when he kept the ball. Everybody just go to him and just celebrate. But it's just get to celebrate, and that's showed them more of that than anything. Hey, this is a team where guys don't run off by yourself. Just stand there. The guys are all going to come to you because they're always running to them, but they're running away from them. And what's frustrating is when you don't get all three phases, and you're in a big game, and you had to have all three phases because that's a good football team. And then there's always one of those where you say, as the play is going to be made. What's frustrating is that you see it in the kicking game and you watch it and you say, okay, if they can come out and play well in the kicking game, why can't we do it? And a lot of times what happens also when you don't have enough depth field, then it's hard because that's where it comes from the kicking game. That's where it really shows up. Because now you're looking at, you watch the kickoff team, you still have 31's a starter, he's on the kickoff. You have Diggs is on the kickoff, Duke is on the kickoff. You have like 4 or 5 starters on the kickoff. And on the punt team, I put starters on the punt team because I want them to know just how important it is.
Middle, Ricky.
Charlie, you alluded to this a little bit already, but Tyrone on Saturday, how big of a step did you feel like he took? It seemed like, especially in the second half, he finally kind of just was settling down and really just playing football.
Well, if you watch you go back to that Baylor game, you watch first half, and then he played well. Then second half, we really didn't do anything. And then you look at the first half Oklahoma, and we were driving the football, moving the ball, and making all the right plays. Then you're right, we come out to that third quarter, and it kind of stall. Then I say, look, Tyrone, we got to get this thing going. The only way it's going to get going, you have to get going. And so then I think then that's when it kind of is like, hey, we got, we get the ball back, I think, right here. End of the third, right at the beginning of the fourth. Then we take the ball and go score. Now we're 20. Then we get the ball back. I think we had a big punt return we had a punt return by Ship. Then we get the short field. Now we get the ball back down and we go score again. So then you could just see his confidence just really building now, really building. Ran him on some quarterback run plays there, and so he had it. He was just playing unbelievable at the time. It was just so focused and locked in.
On your left, Ryan.
Charlie, do you have an update on DeJay's hamstring, and when he returns, do you anticipate incorporating him into the return game at all?
Well, no update yet, Ryan. He came out at practice, tried to jog a little last night, but with the return game, Shipley's doing a great job of catch. More than anything, with the punt returns, the guy just can catch the ball because you don't want to lose field position, and Ship does a great job of doing that. The kickoff return game is where we could use him.
On your right, Kirk.
Charlie, are you going to take some of these starters off the special teams and maybe get some younger players that maybe are not playing on the field as long?
I always look at it like this, Kurt. The punt team is critical because you're going to need starters there because that's where it can change. The kickoff return game a kickoff team is where you can use some younger players. We have some on there. You can use some there. But punt return game, it's more of just us right now. We haven't went for any more blocks. It's more just trying to set it up for Shipley to catch it and get the middle return. The kickoff return, we can get better.
And do you feel like you had the best team Saturday?
Did I feel like I say this, Kurt? I walk into every game feeling like we had the best football team, and I tell our players that if we just we play up to our ability and not make the mistakes. Then I always feel like that. And we you look at the way we played. We played very well to just play here, play there, and teams that those veteran teams they make those plays, and we did.
Middle, Roger.
Coach, I know third quarter's been an issue, but how important is the start Saturday, create some momentum, get some energy in the stadium, and take an Iowa State team that's kind of in the same boat you are and maybe break their spirit a little bit?
And that's what we have to do, Roger. I would say this to our fans, they're unbelievable. You look at the end of the game when we sing the eyes and how our fans were still there and still cheering and going on. A lot of times you see crowds, they just leave the stadium. But for them to stay there, and here we're down 31-13, and they didn't start escaping at all. They can just feel it. For some reason, somebody's going to make a play. So I think what's going to be critical for Saturday, we need to get off to a good start, and we need to get off early where we get a start, and we need to go stop them on defense, create some plays on offense, and get our guys to go play well.
On your right, Chip.
Charlie, do you feel like you should have won the UCLA and Oklahoma games? And how much of those games do you put on youthful inexperience? How much do you put it on coaching? What do you assess those near misses?
I can say that now since they're over. Well, Chip, I look at that UCLA game, and it's, you're playing, and we get the quarterback knocked out of the game, and I know it's Tyrone's second game, but we had our opportunities there. We don't give up the punt return. We don't give up the route there to the outside. And then we had the ball with 5 minutes to go, and we have the lead where it's all about now just go make a couple of first downs and just keep the chains moving. But it's all about as us as a coaching staff. I put it on us. We just got to be better prepared and get our players better prepared for that situation. Then you look at Saturday. The amazing thing about Saturday is you walk into, we drive the ball, which we felt like we could. We felt like we were going to move the ball against that defense. We felt like our offense, if Tyrone played well, we were going to move the football, which we did. So we go down, we get 3, and then they come back, and then you kick off, and then they go return it. But I said to them, okay, guys, a play been made. Okay, it's over with. Let's go. Let's get back going. And now we're down 17-3. Then we get us a play made, get it to 17-10. Then we get to 17-13. So you go into halftime. And I said to them at halftime, I said, we have 30 minutes of football left. But the key thing is the first 5 minutes of this third quarter. That's going to determine what type of team we are, because we can't let them go out. We got to kick off. We can't allow them on defense to take the ball and go drive it right now. We got to go. The first play, they get the big. They get the speed sweep, and Shepard goes down the sideline for 31 yards. And then we end up stopping them there because they get a penalty, so we end up stopping them, make them punt the ball, get nothing on offense. So it kind of, you kind of get in that lull, like, okay, guys, we got to get a drive, we got to get us a drive. And then we got some steam going there in the fourth quarter. But you have, when you get into those games, it's just that as a coaching staff, we had to be prepared, just like our players, and just make sure that we giving them something they can go do. We had to give them, offensively, make sure they're in the right plays. Defensively, we get them the right defense. And then special teams, we don't just give the game away.
In the middle, Brian.
Charlie, do you think the offensive line's getting better, as it seems? And also, too, do you think that you guys have hit on a good combination with Taylor at center?
I think we're really getting good at offensive line, because I think about, you look at the last 2 weeks, I think we rushed the ball for over 350 yards. Prior to that, we wasn't getting nothing with the run game. And then we're protecting the quarterback. I know Tyrone has to move around, but he can move around in the pocket some, and it's not always going to be perfect. But he can get the ball, release it, and get it to our receivers. But you look at it, we put D. James at tackle, then we were able to move Big Perk inside, and then we started Taylor at center, then you got Seth Flowers. And the amazing thing is Hutch. Those guys are all holding up, and they're playing well. And when you get the chemistry there, and they start feeling good about themselves, and I think that's what happened Saturday. You look at that. I walked out there and looked at Oklahoma in the beginning, pregame, and I was like, ooh. It's going to be maybe a long day for us if we can't block big man in the middle there. But I thought we did a really good job of how well our guys were able to handle them.
On your right, Anwar.
Hey, Coach. Tyrone played really well when you guys went up-tempo, especially late. I know it was a little bit situational because of the score, but since you played so well, do you kind of have to consider maybe integrating up-tempo a little bit more because maybe that's his strong suit?
We have at Anwar, and we try to do it at every game. And even, I think, right before we ended our halftime, we would a little up-tempo and get up on the ball. So we had up-tempo. Then when we get it to third down, we huddle because we wanted to make sure we got the right play in. And then when we started the fourth quarter, we just said, hey, let's jump the ball right now. And the key thing, too, we had them reeling, too, because they were tired. So we tried to just wear down their D linemen and then just make sure now they can't get this, they had Stryker coming off, but he was the only guy that was effective rushing because everybody else we were able to shut down. But he is. And what it allows for Tyrone, it doesn't allow the defense to get set. So now they can't sub. So now he knows exactly what he's going to get.
In the middle.
Coach, your impressions of Iowa State and Paul Rhodes and what they've done this year?
You know, I've always had a lot of respect for Paul, and even when he was the coordinator and just all the different schools he's been at. But you look at it and you look at the quarterback. Richardson is a really good player for them. But West didn't have a chance to play last week, and he really goes for them. And then defensively, the thing they do a really good job of mixing it up. But what's going to be critical for us is that we got to play well. We had to play well in all three phases, and I tell them all the time, let's not be so concerned about anyone else. Just make sure we can get on point and take care of our business.
On your right.
Coach, Marcus Johnson more than doubled his season high yards for against this weekend. Can you talk a little bit about what he did and what he improved on this game?
Who was it now?
Marcus Johnson.
Marcus, yeah. The other thing he didn't do is he didn't run straight when he should have ran straight. You remember that play? And he curved to the right, and the guy ran him down. I said to him, if you just run, just keep running, you're going to score a touchdown. I said, why did you bubble out? He said, I don't know, Coach. I thought the guy was behind. Okay, even if he's behind you, if you bubble out, he's going to catch you. Just keep running. But no, he had some really good, big catches for us. And the thing about, I think last year he had only one catch, and it was a touchdown. And this year he had 3 or 4, which is really good. And the thing about our receiving corps, they're doing a really good job with Marcus, with Shib. And, Nyan Harris just continues to get better and better, and he's a presence. You throw the ball to him, he's hard to tackle now, but it's good to see how our receivers are continue to develop and get good, and it helps our quarterback when he can make the throw and they can make the catch.
On your left, Matt.
Charlie, have you been able to put your finger on what has made the third quarter the most difficult one for this team so far?
I haven't. I wish I could. And it's all about, even when we get the ball, it's, we go in at halftime, then you come back out, probably need to do something different at half. Don't know what it is. Give them something. I don't know. But we have to do a little something different, because you're right, the third quarter is sitting there. We're just not getting anything out of it. And even on defense, they move the ball some on us. And it's not so much that we're relaxing. It's that just come back out and just play a complete game. It's 30 minutes of football left, and we just got to continue to play.
On your right, Chip.
Charlie, are there problems getting the calls, especially on offense, to the field, to the quarterback, with the timeouts? Obviously, that came back to get you a little bit in this game.
Yeah, what happened is it's just that we once we get them, and then Ty looks back, and it's just sometimes just the inexperience of him just make the call, because a lot of times he know what it is because he heard it so many times in practice, but he want to make sure that it's perfect, and he doesn't, because you get the critical points in the game, he want to make sure, hey, it's the right play that they signal in, so that it doesn't go wrong for me. And you're right, we had to use 2 timeouts and end up with 1 there at the end, and the one right there, the 2-point play, is that we wanted to make sure that we had the right play, and if we just get the thing, we get the guy pinned inside, we're gonna get the 2 points there. But it is, you got to make sure that that Tyrone sees it, and everyone, when he makes the call, everyone in the huddle hears it. And then I think, it was really good. That environment was great because it was loud. It was loud all the time. So now everybody's up in the huddle trying to listen to what he's saying. They just got to speak it and let it go.
On your left, Chuck.
As much as you're focused and you want the players focused on just the one-game season, at some point you go big picture with them on, hey, here's what you have to do to, as you said, send the seniors out the right way, but also get to 6 wins for bowl eligibility. And second part of that, how important is getting to a bowl game this year with this team?
Well, I think it's always important, Chuck, just to get to a bowl game, because number one, you get the extra practices with the young players, so you want to make sure that happens. But I just don't like to look like down the road. Because now all of a sudden, if the focus, okay, we get this game, then the next one. And so I think if you, like right now, we're at that point where we done played 6, so now you have 6 left. So it can be, it can turn into a one-game focus where you're just making sure that, hey, just make sure we handle our business this week. Let's make sure we handle our business this week, and just not try to not look down that road, because now all of a sudden, and our guys, but our players, they're smart enough. They see it. They see down the road. I don't even have to talk about it, but they see what's happening, who's in front of them, and what they have to go get done.
On your right, Kirk.
The Iowa State Athletic Director, Jamie Pollard, had some interesting comments on the officiating not too long ago. There seemed to be some interesting calls in the Oklahoma game. I'm just curious how you rate the Big 12 officiating so far.
I don't, Kurt, I don't really get involved with that. You know, those guys are going to make their calls. I say what I need to say to them at that point when they don't make it the way I want it made. But I don't think a call or two affected us. It's just the way we play affected the way that happened.
On your left, Mike.
Charlie, do you feel better about this team than you did last Monday?
Well, you know what it is. The way we played, you like to say you feel better, but you need to follow it up now. So now it's going to be how we come out and go play against Iowa State. You know, because if we come back out there and you kind of slop around and not do what needs to be done, then you're going to go back to feeling like, hey, did we ever make a step? But I always say, you know, in that game, you're going to be a step faster. You're going to be a step quicker, and that's what happened. Now can we continue to play like that and build on something?
On your right.
Coach, it's been a couple weeks now since David stepped away from the game. How is he handling it, and what kind of role do you have him in on the team right now?
Well, David right now is just he's doing all his academic work, and that's what he's handling, making sure that gets done. You know, when he has time, he does come out to practice a little.
On your left, Alex.
Coach, can you give us updates on? I have two questions actually. Can you give us updates on Alex Norman? Is he practicing, or is he back, or?
No, right now with Alex, he has a back issue, so what we're doing is trying to nurse that back the right way. So he hasn't been practicing because it's more of he's in the pit, but he hasn't been practicing. So it's more of making sure that we don't allow it to flare back up.
And is Elijah Rodriguez also in the pit?
Elijah Rodriguez had a concussion, but he'll be back this week.
Okay. And then my second question was about Nashawn Hughes. You told us before that you viewed the Fox position as one that was really important to be able to have some speed to operate in space, cover the wheel routes, cover the curl. But do you think that Nashawn Hughes, whenever you guys go to like a four-man front and he's on the weak side defensive end, do you think he's strong enough to hold the edge like, say, a Caleb Blewett or like how Shiro Davis was before he's now been seemingly moved to the strong side defensive end?
I would say this to you, Alex. In that game Saturday, he's probably one of our brighter spots on defense. And he was to the four-man side. He was down to one time. We ran a thumbs game. He's too quick. They couldn't block him, and he gets off the edge. Now, the first play of the game, now he got rocked pretty good. He wasn't ready for that. That fullback 48 comes downhill and pounds him. I think it was his wake-up call. But even that play, if you remember the play that Edmond made, the first third down play, he would have made that. It was really Nashawn should have made it. He was coming to go make that play. But Nashawn played unbelievable. I mean, to see him walk out there, and I said that he's a starter, and then he runs down on special teams and made a couple of tackles. He played. And I said he played unbelievable. So I don't think the size is a factor, because he's not going to get overpowered, because there's no overpowering game. If you think about who runs the power, everything's zone stretch. So as long as he can hold the edge and hold a point, then he's going to be he'll be quick enough and has enough speed to get off blocks and to go do it.
Middle, Brian.
Coach, talking about I always know that head coaches want to maintain an even keel. But do you just want to kill somebody on some of these false start penalties? I mean,
oh God!
5 in the first half. I mean,
I think it was 6. Was it 5 or 6? I know it was a lot of them. Wow.
I mean, the middle mistakes that are self-inflicted.
And that's what it is. And that's what you always talk about. It's all about us. We hurt ourselves. It's nothing that Oklahoma did. You know, you're driving a ball, and you don't. When you have a young offense and you have a young quarterback, that's what you don't want to do, is stop the penalty flow there, because the penalty flow. Now, all of a sudden, you get back, it's 1st and 10, now it's 1st and 15, or it's 2nd and 5, now it's 2nd and 10. And you're right, and there was no reason for it, but the noise was a factor. I mean, I'm not making an excuse. The noise was a factor. And then when you have your first time, your center, Taylor has to, because, a lot of it was, on quick snap, and he's holding the ball whereas he's looking to snap the ball. But he played a really good game, except with the exception of some of the false start penalties. But we can't have those, because that kills ourselves.
On your right, Chip.
Charlie, how much of that was being on a verbal count, including the goal line play where the ball gets snapped into Ty's face mask and then moving to a silent count?
Well, what happened, what we did to change it, we went off a first count with everything. So we just started just going on first sound, and then we just start moving the ball because Taylor made a good, in that one end zone where we come out of the tunnel was all Oklahoma, and so that's where we were. So it was so loud in that end, and he said, Coach, I can't even hear the snap count. So now is all of a sudden we said, hey, at halftime, let's change this thing up. If we ever in that end and we're going toward that end, then we need to make sure that we can get the ball snapped. And you look at a lot of our penalties were on that end of the field. Even when we was driving toward, it was right there in that tunnel area.
Middle, John?
Coach, you said you always feel like you have the best team going in. Came in here, you sounded a little upset, saying you weren't happy. You wanted to change your shirt and get some wins going. Are you shocked that you guys are sitting at 2-4? You almost sound like you're a little surprised.
Well, you know what it is. You look at some of the games and some of our losses, and as well as we played. If we had just played a complete game, then we would be sounding a little different right now. And I say that because I go back to UCLA game and look at how well we played, and you sit there and say, there's one. We've been to Dallas twice. And we didn't come away the way we should have. Came away in the Oklahoma game, just go out and finish it and go play. Because when you look at the yardage that we accumulated and look at what they did, I mean, you sat there and say, wow, I mean, how did the score end up the way it did? But, you look at all three phases, you don't play well, special teams. And then you look out here against Baylor. Baylor has, almost 800 yards against TCU. And then the quarterback against us talking about he was confused because he thought he saw too many coverages. And not to say, just look at us defensively, how well we played. And then you go in halftime, the Baylor game, what was it, 7-0? Yeah, 7-0. We had the ball first and goal, and we fumbled a snap. Center quarterback exchange get a field goal block, and that's how they get to 7. But it's just the blown opportunities.
Got time for two last ones. Start with Ryan on the left.
Charlie, Sean said that there were issues with the headsets trying to converse with you guys on the sideline. How much did that contribute to those 2 timeouts you used in the second half? And, I guess what is your reaction to, that kind of difficulty?
Well, it was so much of that because I know that it went down with a couple of guys on the sideline, but it's still, though, just getting a play in and Tyrone just making it. But like I said, he want to make sure that when the verbiage is clear and everyone can hear it, and then when the noise starts coming, then he tries, the huddle shrinks, but everybody needs to hear the call.
On the right, Kirk?
Charlie, you get a sense of how the Longhorn fan base feels about your team, and what kind of crowd are you expecting? Or are you worried about empty seats at all?
Well, you know what? This is their football team, and we know this. We had to have their support, and I don't know how the base exactly feels about the team, but this is the University of Texas, and I expect them to come out and support this football team. And that's what it's all about. I mean, we're sitting here 2-4, but something we could very easily be, I don't want to say what, but we did. you almost got me. You almost got me. But I just know this. This is a great fan base because, like I said, at the end of if you look at that fan base at the end of that game, and then how they stayed there and cheered for this team, and it makes your football team feel good. So to come out here, when you come at home, you expect to come home to a full house. There's still 6 games left to go play too, so there's a lot of footballs still left in the season. And I know that we're not where a lot of them would like to be. We know that, but still though, it's all about supporting this football team and supporting these players.
Last one in the middle, Roger.
Charlie, you made a pretty good living off of turnovers. Is that one of the frustrating parts about a defense playing so well? And how do you try to get turnovers, or do they just come, maybe when you're not expecting them? And
that's what's hurting us right now, Roger. We had 0 against Baylor and 0 against Oklahoma. 2 big games, 2 conference games, and we get 0 turnovers. Now we play good defense, but it's all about getting those turnovers because we need to shorten the field for our offense. You look at the one, Jay Hall has one right there on that sideline. We end up dropping that. We had, we had some overthrows by the quarterback. We weren't able to get in position to go get the interception. Haven't knocked the ball out yet where we can strip a ball and create a fumble. But we had to talk, that's something we talk about on defense. That's what we talk about as coaches. And every time I walk out, I say, listen here, guys, they got one turnover, 7 points difference in the game. They had one. So Tyrone gave up one turnover, 7 points difference in the game. And that's what we got to get. We got to get turnovers. That's defensively, that's where you know you're playing well when you can get those turnovers.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.